Happy Tuesday, beautiful people. Happy Tuesday. It is July the 5th, 2022, day 151 of year 4 of reading through the books of the law and the prophets, some of the 4-year consecutive day count, day 1169. Today we're going to be picking back up in the book of Spencer Armige on page 275 in the Oahspe. All right, beautiful people. So let's go ahead and get started. All right. Father, we thank you for another day to search for truth. And you have always been faithful, as you always will to us when we're ready to know more of you. All right, y'all. Audrey, shalom, shalom. All right, chapter 5. When the light fell full upon Spencer Armige, the voice of Jehovah spake through her, saying, In thee whom I made God over the earth and her heavens, I am well pleased. By my hand hast thou raised them up. Through thee have I maintained the diva, even unto this day. Auntie, great and blissful rising. I ain't forget to call you. I'm going to call you. It's going to be probably today, maybe a little bit later, I ain't forget. Thou shalt have honor in my exalted heavens, because thou art the first in Spita, but thou shalt crown thy glory. But thou shalt crown thy glory by descending to the earth and walking with mortals for the term of 4 years, even with my son Brahma. And when thy time is completed, I will come and deliver thee and Brahma. Okay, so after Spita, in the first portion of the sentence, there's a reference to letter B. So hop back here to page 301 and B, this term Spita, where it says, Thou shalt have honor in my exalted heavens, because thou art the first in Spita. Spita is, this term refers to more than just the name of an arc in the firmament. It signifies a specific period of time in the development of a planet when humanity has attained to a degree of maturity where it is able to think for itself and perceive the Creator's light directly without an interpreter. See Book of Spencer Armage, chapter 11, verses 14 through 15 for significance. We are on 5. Let's see. Eleven, 14 through 15. Okay. Let's see. See chapter 11, verse 14 through 15 for significance. This evidently means that this God was the first God who maintained Jehovah's light all around the earth during a cycle. 1882 in lowest edition. So let's hop up ahead. Well, in the same book of Spencer Armige, hop ahead to chapter 11, verses 14 through 15, where it gives that reference. And it says, In one time, hey son, in one time I sent the angels of the dead to lead man up to a knowledge of me and my places. But when man hath attained to think for himself, I set up my ark of Spita, and it is as a candle in the firmament of heaven, wherefrom my light falleth upon the soul of my people. Go ahead. Without any. That's all you needed? Okay. It says, I started over. Verse 14 on page 295. In one time, I send the angels of the dead to lead men up to a knowledge of me and my places. But when man hath attained to think for himself, I set up my ark of Spita, and it is as a candle in the firmament of heaven, wherefrom my light falleth upon the soul of my people without any interpreter, save my own voice. For which reason, when one of my worlds hath attained to Spita, I come to deliver them from kings and queens and priests, and angels, and it is as the maturity of a son in his father's house, when he inviteth his neighbors and spreadeth a feast. All right, so that's the end of that footnote. So let's go back to page 275. Tikva shalom, shalom. Create a gang up in the house. All right, verse 3, page 275. Thou shalt have honor in my exalted heavens, because thou art the first in Spita, but thou shalt crown thy glory by descending to the earth and walking with mortals for the term of 4 years, even with my son Brahma. And when thy time is completed, I will come and deliver thee and Brahma. Audio. Let me check my end. Okay. Mine is all the way up. Might be yours. Like, click out and click back in. I think mine is good. I've been running tests and stuff, so I think my audio, it could be me. I don't know, don't quote me. It could be me, but I think I'm good. Anybody else having audio issues? That's the key. If everybody having audio issues, then it probably is me. I'm going to keep going. Verse 4. In my name shalt thou raise thy voice and establish me amongst men, and I will be with thee in wisdom and power. Take thy attendance and proceed to thy labor in whatsoever thou desirest of me. Call, and I will answer, for I have messengers who shall labor betwixt us. No issue. Okay, that might be yours. Belinda Brown. That might be your audio. Yep, definitely probably your audio. Great Spirit, Jehovah, peace and blessings, family, in the name of Jehovah, our Creator. Okay, verse 5. God then saluted and withdrew. Next came Yema, and to him Jehovah spake, saying, being one with God, thou shalt labor, even as he laboreth, and thou shalt descend to the earth, even to my corporal son Po, who hath been prepared in my name, and with him shalt thou walk the earth 4 years, and thou shalt speak in my name, establishing me amongst mortals, to the end that my chosen shall be delivered into my kingdoms. For thou shalt lead them away from the mortal kings, and teach them to know me as their only king. Take then thy attendance and go to thy labor. And at the end of 4 years, I will appoint a successor to thee, and I will deliver thee into my Etherean kingdoms. Yema then saluted and stood aside. Next came Vishnu, renowned for his labor in Vidyu and her heavens. To him, Jehovah said, being one with God, thou shalt find him, thou shalt with him fulfill the completion of Spita in my name, to which end shalt thou, all right, son, living. To which end thou shalt descend to the corporal earth, even Arabenia, and dwell thereon for a period of 4 years with my corporal son Abram. With Abram thou shalt walk and sojourn day and night, speaking and laboring in me as fully as my very self. And thou shalt deliver my chosen away from the king's people, teaching them to have no king but me, their creator. To Abram shalt thou reveal my name, Jehovah, and establish it in secret with its due rites and ceremonies. And at the end of 4 years, I will appoint a successor to thee, and thee will I deliver into my emancipated worlds. Take then thy attendance and depart to thy labor, and I will be with thee in wisdom and power. Vishnu then saluted and stood aside. Is that better over here on Facebook? Next came Os. Os is OS. I think it's Os. That's what I've been saying. Next came Os, sent by the Etherean regions of Heotsati to deliver the kingdoms of Japan and Hellas and their heavens, but who was now revealed by the deviant successor. To Os, Jehovah spake, saying, in honor of thy volunteering in the days of darkness for the relief of God and his kingdoms, I now create thee, God of the first Spita of the red star, and crown thee with my own hand. And lo and behold, Even with these spoken words, a light descended in the form of a crown and settled upon his head. Thereupon Jehovah said, in which I have made thee a lawful div with corporal power. Okay, so what I didn't do, was it yesterday? I didn't show y'all the picture. Could have been the day before yesterday. Okay, so I think this was the first picture. Okay, so the picture of Poe, apparently this is Poe on page 265. Okay, so this is Poe, the name P-O at the bottom. And so then they show a picture of Abram. He looks a little Indian to me. This is Abram. That's page 276. All right. And verse 12, page 277. And lo and behold, even with these spoken words, a light descended in the form of a crown and settled upon his head. Thereupon Jehovah said, in which I have made thee a lawful div with corporal power. And thou shalt descend to the corporal earth, even to Gautama, and walk with my son Iwata, with the and thou shalt descend to the corporal earth, even to Gautama, and walk with my son Iwata, whom the Lewis have bred for my voice for the term of 4 years, sojourning with him day and night, gathering together the remnants of my lost tribes, and establishing them in faith of the Great Spirit, and my name, Egoquim, suitable to the utterance I have created them. The one there, it's all the way. Chamber of Prophecy. What chapter? I got it all highlighted up. But it goes into, I gave it to y'all before. The section where it goes into detail about Iwata and America. But anyway, the whole point of saying all that was that they call the Great Spirit I figure I catch the highlights, but I guess not. Egoquim, Egoquim. Mom, shalom, shalom. Okay, I'll read verse 13 again. And thou shalt descend to the corporal earth, even to Gautama, which we know is the Americas, even to Gautama, and walk with my son Iwata, whom the Lewis have bred for my voice for the term of 4 years, sojourning with him day and night, gathering together the remnants of my lost tribes, and establishing them in faith of the Great Spirit, in my name, Egoquim, suitable for the utterance created for them. Good morning, son. And at the end of 4 years, I will appoint a successor to thee, and thee I will restore into my Etherean worlds. Take then thy attendance and depart to thy labor, and I will be with thee in wisdom and power. Then Os saluted and stood aside. He probably didn't salute like that. Maybe not, but they be saluting with their hand in the sign of, maybe the sign of the Great Spirit, or the sign of whichever little phrase they use. Then Os saluted and stood aside, and the voice departed. Then Spencer Armige, on her own account, said, this hour, even now, I dissolve the diva with honor and glory unto them. The kingdoms ye ruled over shall be my kingdoms during dawn, and my Father's name I assume them and their affairs. Peace and love and wisdom and power be with all. Amen. This is the first time I see amen in here. Okay. The 4 inspiring gods then departed, and in the outer circuit of Crayoshavy, they had in waiting, which their attendants had prepared beforehand, each one an otavan, fully equipped and ready, into which they embarked with their attendants, 50,000 each. The musicians then saluted them, even as they moved off, severally in direct lines for the earth. Spencer Armitage then lowered the light a little and heard three visiting companions, Oaks, Haoa, and Siwagan, sat near her on the throne, even before her Etherean council, 500 million. Spencer Armitage said, Spencer Armitage said, I have visited the earth and her heavens, even her heavens on her very surface. By the power vested in me, I relieve from duty all lords and gods and sub lords on the earth and in the heaven of the earth. This my messenger will communicate to them, commanding them in my love and wisdom, which are one with the Father, to come at once to Creoshavi, that I may honor them and apportion them for the third resurrection, which will occur in 4 years. To the lorddom, Maitreya, founded by Vishnu, I appointed and allot Yugseyu, Lord, with 30 million of my Etherean hosts to be chosen by himself. Let Yugseyu come before me. Yugseyu then came before Jehovah's throne, and Spencer Armitage said unto him, Repair thou unto Maitreya, taking thy host with thee, and when thou art come to the place, possess it in Jehovah's name, and order it after the manner of a lorddom, providing sub-kingdoms unto thy place as may be required. And thou shalt have dominion over all angels, over, over all angels that are ready with the plateau of Maitreya, or such as be hereafter sent to thee from the other heavenly divisions and from the earth. And thou shalt provide thy kingdom unto the service of the Father, chiefly to prevent angels returning to the earth to obsess and pollute mortals. For thou shalt find hundreds of millions of them who have no aspiration but destruction. Many of them were slain in wars on the earth and are still seeking vengeance, and if escaping to the earth, obsess mortals to burn cities and to murder and to all manner of wickedness. Thy labor, O Lord, is not to reform them or teach them, for I shall appoint and allot others to that end, but thou shalt labor wholly and entirely to prevent the return of Maitreya to mortals, and that thou shalt be strong before them. Thou shalt draw from all other heavenly kingdoms, which I shall found, a sufficient guard to enforce my commandments. For 4 years thou shalt labor in this manner, and thou shalt also raise up one with thy lorddom to be thy successor after thee. Take then thy host and go to thy labors, and the Father will be with thee in wisdom and power. Yugseyu then made his selections from Spencer Armitage's hosts, and they came and passed before Jehovah's throne, saluting, and then withdrew and went into a ship which had likewise been prepared for them by the proper persons whose labor lies in that matter. And having saluted with music, they departed, Yugseyu and his hosts rejoicing. Again, Spencer Armitage spoke, saying, Behold, the time is now come upon the earth when I will divide and allot unto each of its several great divisions heavenly kingdoms accordingly. To Japan, because she is a remnant of the submerged continent. Remember, the submerged continent is Pan, which is why Japan gets her name Japan, because it said in the very beginning that it would be an attestation too of the continent that sunk based on things that would be found there and all that good stuff, right? Okay. I'm going to read 24 again. Again, Spencer Armitage spake, saying, Behold, the time is now come upon the earth when I will divide and allot unto each of its several great divisions heavenly kingdoms accordingly. To Japan, because she is a remnant of the submerged continent, I will establish a heavenly kingdom, and it shall be called Sausu, S-U-A-S-U. To Japheth, because she have preserved much of the first language, I established a heavenly kingdom, and it shall be called Hijesi, HIJEE-TSE. To vid you, because she is the most advanced in holiness of all the earth, I establish a heavenly kingdom, and it shall be called Vrimij, VRI-MIJ. To Arabinia, because she is the foundation of Jehovah's migratory host, who shall go forth around the earth, I establish a heavenly kingdom, and it shall be called Paradise. Everybody know how to spell paradise, right? But just in case you don't, Paradise. To Helest, because she was rescued from darkness by Os in time to meet this ark, I establish a heavenly kingdom, and it shall be called Speta, SPE-TA. To Europa, because she was first founded by a woman, I establish a heavenly kingdom, and it shall be called Himmel, Himmel. And Europa is simply Europe, what we call Europe today. Would I happen to know another source for obtaining a copy of Oahspe other than Amazon? I have not looked, because Amazon is my go-to for everything. I haven't looked anywhere else to purchase it. I would have to Google it myself. So no, at this moment, I do not. Okay. Verse 31. To South, did Amazon run out? That's a good question. Did Amazon run out? Or is Amazon like not delivering to like you? I'll. They ran out. Yeah, yes, they ran out. Hold on. Hold on. Let me look. Out of stock. Bruh, the word is getting out. Look, it sound like my Hebrew brethren and sister, and either they getting the word from it's only like a couple of the channels they probably getting the word from. If very few people come through here, but they probably if they going to Selah Shalom TV channel, or they going to Honor and Humility, which Yaki is a part of. You don't really see him up there too much anymore. But Malachi Maccabee has started reading the Oahspe. I'm not sure out loud, but he has done a couple collaborations and stuff with Selah Shalom TV, and both of them have huge followings. So it's probably the people from Honor and Humility. So hey, that's a good thing. They ought to stop. I'm glad I ordered. Look, I don't have any more extra ones now, because I gave them out. I ordered them and I gave them out. But hold on, let me see. Amazon.com. Sent me to the Yahoo search engine. Let's see. Oh, my yeah, this is the one I got. They got 9 left in stock. Well, for my Prime jank, where I always go to. They discounted by 10%, so they $27. So let me know if you want me to get a couple over here. I order them, and next time you in town, you know, I have them for you. You let me know how many you need. If you check back from your end and they still say out of stock for you, just let me know. I'll order them. Let me know how many. They only got 9, so if you need all 9, let me know. Okay. Right, that's right. Thank you, Tick, for Cosmo and Cal. Okay, so you might be able, because I'm not the only one that can see it's like 9 left. Jen, Grand Rising, Grand Rising. Yeah, check again. If from your end it still say out of stock, let me know, and let me know how many you get. Up to 9. By the time you let me know if they still got 9, if you need all 9. Okay. Oh well, somebody over here Tick say they about to buy 2 this week, so that's down to 7. You better move quick, sis. Okay, let me go back, y'all. But it did say at the bottom more on the way. I'm not sure exactly when those more would get there, but it says more on the way. Okay, let me get back. Verse 30, to Europa, because she was first founded by a woman, I establish a heavenly kingdom, and it shall be called Himmel. To South Guatama, because she is the least inhabited of all the great divisions of the earth, I establish a heavenly kingdom, and it shall be called Aden, Ahden. To North Guatemala, well, South Guatemala is like South America. You know what? Central America, I lump it as like the same, but it's called something else in here. I forgot. Excuse me. We'll get to it when we get to that section when it talks about America. Yeah, you give them as gifts too. Yep. So okay. Verse 32. To North Guatemala, because she is the ground on which the circumscribing of the earth by the different nations shall take place, where the revelations of heaven and earth shall be made unto man. I establish a heavenly kingdom, and it shall be called Cosmon, Kosmon. Let me read it again. The whole verse 32, since this applies to us in North Guatemala. Well, I know it's people actually from Europa and a few other places that are not here, but I may have read y'all portion already. Okay, verse 32. To North Guatemala, because she is the ground on which the circumscribing of the earth by the different nations shall take place, where the revelations of heaven and earth shall be made to man. I establish a heavenly kingdom, and it shall be called Cosmon. To all the South Islands, I establish a heavenly kingdom, and it shall be called Flue, Flue. To all the North Islands, I establish a heavenly kingdom, and it shall be called Sinyat, Sin-Yot. Hereupon the light of Jehovah overspread Spencer Armige, and his voice spake through her, saying, to my 10 heavenly kingdoms, which I have made through my daughter, behold, I choose 10 lords, and my 10 lords shall go to the kingdoms I apportion unto them. And my name shall my lords build unto me 10 heavenly places of delight for the spirits of the dead that rise up from the earth. And my lords shall establish in my kingdoms places of I'm sorry. And my Lord shall establish in my kingdoms places of learning and places of labor, places for the sick and helpless angels that rise up from the earth, that my lords shall raise them up to know me and the glory of the worlds I have created for them, inspiring them to perfect themselves in wisdom and purity and power, that they may arise and inherit my Ethereal heavens. And my lords shall appoint ashars unto mortals at the time of their corporal birth, and the said ashars shall be appointed in watch, that they may relieve one another, having a time of labor and a time of rest. So the ashars will be changing guard tomorrow because the Sabbath for this moon cycle falls on Wednesday, right? So I think the next one is going to skip Thursday and hop back to Friday. Don't quote me, but it cycles like that and skip days as it does its cycles. Okay. So remember, the Sabbath is when the Ashars or the guardian angels change watch. We learned that in the last book. Okay, when it talks about the moon's 4 holy days, which the moon's 4 holy days, you get 4 holy days or 4 Sabbaths from each moon cycle. And they don't name like this huge number because it would be a huge number without end if you counted all the Sabbaths that ever existed. So instead of saying the Sabbaths or this huge magnificent number, they just say the 4 holy days of the moon. Each moon has 4 holy days, 4 weeks with 4 Sabbaths in it. So the Bible calls it, Bible and like the Apocrypha and other materials call them Sabbaths. Oahspe calls them the moon's 4 holy days. Okay, verse 37. And my lords shall appoint ashars unto mortals at the time of their corporal birth, and the said ashars shall be appointed in watch, or two sections, that they may relieve one another. So watch and watch. So if this one is on watch, you will get relief when this watch comes to you, and then you can go rest and recuperate to whatever it is you need to do on your time off from watch, right? People in the military or people who change shifts know that. So it's a changing of guard, changing of the shift, relieving of the watch. Wherever you at, whatever it's called, is that, right? You coming to stand in while the person that was watching go take a break. Okay. I'll read the whole verse again. It's like my third time. And my lords shall appoint ashars unto mortals at the time of their corporal birth, and the said ashars shall be appointed in watch, that they may relieve one another, having a time of labor and a time to rest. So when you're born, you get two, at least, at the very least, two ashars. That we do know. And then when you're married, you get like two more. Your spouse and you, they're appointed to you, and now they begin to increase your learning in another whole way for the married couple that talks about this as well. Okay. Boy, I tell you, when you get married, it definitely takes you on it raises you. If you allow the lessons being taught to teach you, you can grow in wondrous ways. So, and everything ain't always peaches and cream. So you got to learn how to push through the tough times. It's like when working out. When you first start working out, you get a little sore. You ain't used to it. Same thing. Same thing happens in everything in life where you need to grow. There's always this learning curve, right? It seemed like me and my husband just getting past our learning curve, and we about to be married here in September, 21 years. Bruh, time well spent though. Okay, let me keep going. And my lords shall so appoint my ashars, that each and every ashar shall have 100 changes of labor with 100 different mortals, in order to learn all the varieties of men and women I have created. That's good. I'm gonna read the whole verse over again. Verse 37. And my lords shall appoint ashars, or guardian angels, unto mortals at the time of their corporal birth, when we come through our mother's womb, right? When we're born. And the said ashars shall be appointed in watch, that they may relieve one another, having a time of labor and a time of rest. And my lords shall so appoint my ashars, that each and every ashar shall have 100 changes of labor with 100 different mortals, in order to learn all the varieties of men and women I have created. And the number of ashars shall be equal to the number of mortals dwelling on the earth. Uncle JB, Grand Rising. Page 279, verse 38 at the top. And my lords shall appoint Asaphs to reside in heaven, sufficient in number to receive the spirits of all who die on the earth, which they shall receive from the ashars in my name. So remember, when you pass away, your ashar leads you to the Asaph, and the Asaph takes you to wherever it is that you go, based on what it is you've learned and what you did while you was here in the flesh, right? And your learning just continues. Or you go to go to wherever it is has been appointed for you, based on where you was at when you passed your flesh. Verse 38, I start over. And my Lord shall appoint Asaphs to reside in heaven, sufficient in number to receive the spirits of all who die on the earth, which they shall receive from the ashars in my name. And the Asaphs shall take such angels thus received, and place them in the regions my lords shall have prepared for them, where there shall be sufficient teachers and nurses and physicians in my heavenly places, to administer unto them. And so I realized the other day, you know how people, well, mostly you hear it in like the Christian sector, where when somebody dies, they said another angel has gained its wings. I'm like, okay, so well, technically, That like really, I mean, not that they got wings, but I get what they're saying based on calling them angels when they pass, because that's exactly what Oahspe calls you when you pass, right? When you pass your flesh and you no longer have your flesh, you're considered a part of the angelic host now, but a newly born, right? The newly born. Okay. Verse 39. And my lords shall provide discipline to the spirits it thus received, who shall be trained according to the deviant law which I established through my gods, which shall extend beyond the Essene even to the 30th grade. And my lords shall provide for them that have attained to the 30th grade to be sent in suitable ships to this place, Creoshavi, and deliver them to my daughter, Spenta Armige, and to her successor, God or goddess, who shall have dominion over the whole earth and her heavens. For behold, it is the nature of man on earth to go after earthly things instead of heavenly, and it is the nature of the Essene to strive for the earth instead of my higher heavens. Be ye guarded, therefore, to lay a foundation, to prevent angels and mortals from going downward, to provide inspiration, to make them desire to ascend to my holy regions. The voice now departed, and Spencer Armige spake of her own account in Jehovah's name, saying, Whomsoever I call, let them come before Jehovah's throne, for they shall be lords whom I shall anoint for the heavenly kingdoms I have established. Letzu, Lord of Seisu, a heavenly place over Japan. Owa, Lord of Haijitsi, a heavenly place over Japheth. Lugam, Lord of Vermish, a heavenly place over Vidu. Hakapa, Lord of Paradise, a heavenly place over Arabinia. Jesse, Lordess of Spita, a heavenly place over Helest. Johan, Lord of Himmel, a heavenly place over Europa. Hinotzi, Lordess of Aden, Lordess of Aden, a heavenly place over Guatama. I'm sorry, over South Guatama. Ami, Lordess of Cosmon, a heavenly place over North Guatama. So there is females at during the time of Spencer Armige over North and South America. The Lordess over North and South America, female. I'm just saying. I kind of feel like in so many words, the energy based on different things that happen, I still think we're under, at least here in North Guatemala, in North America, I still think that we're under the ruling of a goddess or a lordess. Well, it could be the region. I don't know. But I think, don't quote me on that. I think, I'm not certain.
Talking about how there's a whole lot of feminine.
Just sexual. Men are too.
I know that. I know that part, but I'm saying if we're looking at the corruption wise, I mean,
so you say women. So you're saying women corrupt?
No, not the right one. Well, I'm coming from a knowledgeable standpoint. My bad, but. Yeah, I don't know. Is they doing it on purpose? Is they letting things like this happen on purpose? Do they have any control? And if they did it, is they just not touching it because it's like they need to learn their lesson and they need to go on their own? We cannot interfere, or is it like we're gonna mess this up as much as possible? Everybody else, this is our doing it. Like what type of
no, okay. So
the lords at that, not the
I would say the ones in the line of light of the true Father. I would say they're not doing wrong stuff on purpose.
But is that where we're at? Because we also know there's false prophets.
Well, if teaching and stuff is coming that's causing people to go to war and all the kind of crazy stuff, we know that's coming from false kingdom sources. The light side is doing everything to balance it out, to bring a perfect balance and lead everybody back to the light and the ways of the Father. Right? Okay. But we all trying to figure it out, Jeremiah. We all trying to figure it out. Okay. Verse 51. Ami, Lordess of, hold on. Yeah. Ami, Lordess of Cosmon, a heavenly place over North Gautama. Haram, Lord of Flu, a heavenly place over the southern islands. Putsi, maybe I said that wrong. Puetse, Lordess of Sinyat, a heavenly place over the northern islands. All the angels named came before Spenta Armige when called, and they now stood abreast Jehovah's throne, whereupon the all light overspread the place, and the Father's voice spake to Spenta Armige, saying, Ye are my lords and lordesses, by me raised up and allotted your places. For 4 years shall ye labor, even to the end of this dawn, and ye shall provide successors to take your places after you, and herein lies your greatest glory and mine. For they that succeed you shall hold dominion 200 years, and they in turn shall provide successors after them, and so on. For these successions shall continue till the ark of bond. With mine own hand weave I crowns, and crown you severally for my kingdoms. When these words were spoken, the now fast gathering light of a variety of colors took the shape of 10 separate crowns and descended on the heads of the lords and lordesses. The voice ceased, but Spencer Armige spake on her own account in Jehovah's name, saying, My lords and lordesses, go to your labors in love, wisdom, and power of the Father, and he will be with you, and ye shall be a glory in his kingdom. Choose ye therefore each and every one 10,000,000 of my hosts, who shall go with you to your places, to be afterward exchanged or divided, as I may direct, that ye may choose in order. He who was first appointed shall choose first, the second next, and so on until ye have your chosen. All of these lords and lordesses were of the higher light, and knew beforehand, and had in like manner already chosen their attendants, so that at a given signal the multitudes thus chosen rose up and came before the throne, forming 10 groups of 10,000,000 each. And they at once formed in line and passed before Jehovah's throne, saluting in the sign birth of Spita on the earth. That was the sign that they saluted in. It's called birth of Spita on the earth. And Spencer Armige answered in the sign Jehovah and the lower heavens. Spencer Armige said, For the glory of this scene, I bequeath a day of rest, that my host may witness the departure of the fleets of Jehovah's lords and lordesses. At once the host joined in a mighty chorus of thanksgiving and praise, and they went without and saw the ships laden with the joyous crews, saw them set their great fleet in motion, sang and shouted to them in Jehovah's love for the glory of his high heavens. Hmm? Yep. That was a long chapter. Chapter 5. That was the end of chapter 5. Where we at? 44. All right. Chapter 6. In the beginning of the second year of Spencer Armige in Crayoshavy, messengers came before Jehovah's throne, saluting and greeting from Cetus, who now lived under the name Ohura, and submitted the following communication to it. What you look for?
No, I was putting it on strainer back. I need to talk to you.
Okay. All right. Cetus, who had become Ohura, look, he been Ohura so long, I forgot his name. Cetus. Okay. Cetus, who hath become Ohura, a servant of Jehovah, and is now God of Elkin, Ailkin. Okay, and is now God of Elkin by just judgment of Jehovah, desireth audience with the most high raised Spencer Armige, daughter of the Great Spirit. To this, Spencer Armige answered, Greeting and love to my brother Uhura. By the grace and power of Jehovah, come and see me, bringing thy attendants. Now, after the lapse of a few days, Uhura came to Crayoshavy, attended by 1 million, escorted by music, and proclaimed according to the discipline of the higher heavens with heralds and trumpeters. So remember, by this time, Uhura has been delivered from his devious ways, and he's now been raised. Well, not necessarily raised up from his level, but um, he's in a position now to raise up all of those he deceived, to raise them up to the level he's currently at. He's raising high. So now he's back on the right side of light. Yes.
Sir, off topic. Do you have dark blue or navy type of turban?
Turban?
Yeah, so I can cover up this hot mess on my head.
I don't have turbans. I have scarves.
Scarf.
There's still my whole huge 2 racks of like 1,000 scarves each. There is one in there, but it's still in one of them boxes that I have not unpacked, which is why I've been wearing these same colors over and over again for the last 2 months. Yeah, I'm gonna get to it. I can't tell you what day this week, but I'm gonna find them.
Was it commercial or was it?
They're in the commercial bins. Yeah. I don't know if it's there, but don't go rambling through all my stuff.
Just
All right, verse 3. To this, Spencer Armige answered, greeting and love to my brother Uhura. By the grace and power of Jehovah, come and see me, bringing thy attendants. Now, after the lapse of a few days, Uhura came to Crayoshavy, attended by 1 million, escorted by music, and proclaimed according to the discipline of the higher heavens with heralds and trumpeters. And Spencer Armige's host received Uhura and conducted him and his host within the capital chamber. And Uhura went before Jehovah's throne, saluting in the sign, second plateau. And Spencer Armige answered in Novanian road, Sakwatka. She said, in the name of the Great Spirit, whose daughter I am, I welcome thee in love and high esteem. I know all thy past record, and do look upon thee as the foundation of one of Jehovah's brightest sons. Sons, S-U-N-S. Long have I desired that thou shouldest petition to come and to see thee and greet thee in the Father's name. And after thou shouldest petition to come, after come, there's reference number 3, and it says, to come see me, and much desire I to see thee. Okay. Verse 5. Uhura said, O thou most high chieftainess of hundreds of thousands of years, how can I stand before thee? I know thou hast seen many truants in thy day, and watched their course thousands of years. Thou canst see before me all that awaited me and mine. The past and the future are as an open book before thee. That I have stood before thee and looked upon thee, I am blessed above all things since the day of my birth. Behold, the hand of the Great Spirit hath appeared before me. I comprehend the only road that leadeth on to everlasting resurrections. I know that the one all person must ever stand as the keynote for angels and mortals. Without him, a man is as a ship without a rudder. The seas around him drive him into ruin in the end. Blessed is he who hath had the experience of this in the early day of his life. Nervous and full of fear is he who hath been tried 2,000 years. Then spake Spencer Armige, saying, I perceive thy desires, O Uhura. I understand why thou art before me. Thy wisdom is great indeed. Thou perceivest that thy plateau is in the second removal from the earth. Thou fearest that some of thy hosts will forsake Jehovah and usurp kingdoms of their own, even as thou did in time past. Thou desirest me to raise thy plateau farther away from the corporal earth. Uhura said, if it be Jehovah's will, even for this purpose I am come before thee. Now came a great light. I just want to make sure my the water went on. It's the what you call it. It seemed like it's water running off through the pipe. from somewhere in the house. Okay, the little drip pipe or whatever. Okay, verse 8. Ahura said, if it be Jehovah's will, even for this purpose, I am come before thee. Now came a great light, bright like the sun, and settled over the throne, enveloping the goddess Spencer Armige, and Jehovah's voice spake out of the light to Ahura, saying, my son, why hast thou so little faith? Behold, I am with thee, even as with this, my daughter. All thou lackest is faith. Go thou back to thy plateau and raise thou it thyself. My daughter shall come to thee and show thee, and thou shalt not fail. To have faith in me is to be one with me. To lack faith in me is to be far removed from me. Ahura said, O Jehovah, teach thou me how to begin to have faith. To find the beginning, there is my stumbling block. Jehovah said, by trying me, there is the beginning. By learning to know thine own power in me and to know my power in thee is the sum of all power and wisdom. By the lack of faith in me, man setteth up himself. By the lack of faith in me, the self assuming gods build kingdoms for themselves. Hold on, this is highlights worthy. Listen, let me go back. Go back, verse 10. My son, why hast thou so little faith? Behold, I am with thee, even as with this, my daughter. All thou lackest is faith. Go thou back to thy plateau and raise thou it thyself. My daughter shall come to thee and show thee that thou shalt not fail. To have faith in me is to be one with me. To lack faith in me is to be far removed from me. Ahura said, O Jehovah, teach thou me how to begin to have faith. To find the beginning, there is my stumbling block. Jehovah said, by trying me, there is the beginning. By learning to know thine own power in me and to know my power in thee, this is the sum of all power and wisdom. By the lack of faith in me, man setteth up himself. By the lack of faith in me, the self assuming gods build kingdoms for themselves. The failure of man is proof of my power. The failure of all kingdoms is proof of the lack of faith in me, whereby my faith is manifested over them. Bruh, now, like my mama said, not out of preach. Listen to this right here. Because if that's good in big kingdoms, surely it's good in the smallest kingdom called a family. Listen, hold up. First, let's go back to verse 12. Yes, faith is key. Faith is the key to the lock. Yes. Verse 13. The failure of man is proof of my power. The failure of all kingdoms is proof of the lack of faith in me, whereby my power is manifested over them. First, after the abjuring of self, come the constant manifestations of power through faith, the example of which holdeth the multitude to me and my works. Inasmuch as thou hast suffered fear in thy soul for a relapse in thy kingdom, thou hast opened the door for disaster. Have I not proved this on earth, wherein the faith of a captain leadeth his soldiers on to victory, and his lack of faith breaketh them down in weakness? Think not, O Ahura, that my examples are less with my gods. Same thing. Remember when Gideon in the Bible, I feel like I had some on my lip. Remember Gideon, they was about to I'm granted, we ain't talking about this is the example I want to use with Gideon, not whose kingdom he was under. But we can clearly see it there. So remember when they were about to go to war, right? And the God that was speaking to him, he said, listen, some of these men, I'm gonna just, summarize it. Some of these men got to roll, bro. You can't take them with you to war. Otherwise, their fear and lack of faith is gonna cause everybody to just y'all gonna lose. So people got to go, right? And so he told him, he said, those that lappeth up water with their hands, I forget which way it was. They lap up water with their hands and they drink it straight with their mouth. I forget which one he told to send home, right? But the ones who did, let's just say, hold on, let me just check it real quick. I got Google right here. Gideon. $300 soldiers. In Judges chapter 7. Hold on. ISV. I don't never use this version. Okay. Yeah, it says, the Lord told Gideon, you have too many soldiers with you for me to drop Midian into their hands, because Israel will become arrogant and say, this was my own abilities that delivered me. That is why you're to ask in full view of the soldiers, whoever is afraid or who is trembling may go back from Mount Gilead and return home. So 22,000 soldiers left and 10,000 remained. There are still too many soldiers, the Lord told Gideon. Bring them down to the water, and I'll refine them there for you. Therefore, when I say to you, this one will be going with you, he'll go with you. But no one may go about whom I tell you, this one won't be going with you. This is the ASV. This first one that came up. I don't ever really read from this, but it is still you the gist of the story. So he brought his soldiers down to the water, and the Lord told Gideon, you are to cut out everyone who laps up water with his tongue like a dog from everyone who kneels to drink. The contingent of soldiers who lapped up water with their hands to their mouths numbered 300 men, but everyone else knelt to drink water. And then the Lord told Gideon, I'm going to deliver you with the 300 soldiers who lapped by giving the Midianites into your control. Send everyone else back to their homes. Right? So it's the same thing. We see that like that process everywhere. Yeah. Hold on. No, the ones who, let me go back. The ones who lapped up water. Hold on. Let me make sure I read that right. You are to cut out everyone who laps up water with his tongue like a dog from everyone who kneels to drink. The contingent of soldiers who lapped water with their hands to their mouths numbered 300 men, but everyone else knelt to drink water. Yes, yeah, so ones who lapped up water like a dog, they send them home. They ain't got no kind of manners. That's how it's easy to remember. If you don't drink that water like that. Or kids, sometimes they'll cut on the water and go stick. If you don't get a cup, quit drinking out of my faucet like that. Get a cup, or I guess that's the easy way to remember it. Okay, so it's the ones who lapped up water like a dog that was sent home. The ones that use their hands as a cup. We can use civilized men here. Right? Okay. But that's good. Listen, let me go back and read this. That's absolutely true. Let me say, look, especially there's so many examples of this, especially there's so many. A lot of time, like the first examples that come to mind is different movies, like with slavery and stuff. You got the ones that's ready to break free. Like, look, bro, we leaving tonight. We'll master go to sleep. Is you coming or is you ain't? I don't know. Master up. You know what? Stay here. Matter of fact, you wait right there, because we're gonna have to do something with him before we go, because he's surely gonna tell master we about to roll, right? Everybody with fear, you got ones that got fear in their heart and stuff. It's like, I ain't too sure. Yeah, you don't need to go. Matter of fact, you need to scope them people out first before you even put word out that we about to roll, right? We don't need nobody that's scary, because we want to do what we got to do, right? And if you're too scary, you stay here. We'll come back and get you later. We go out. Like, all right, y'all ready? Let's roll, right? You don't need nobody with fear. You just got to go get it done, right? If don't nobody want to go, I'll be back. Right? Okay. Matter of fact, you got to be like that when you break out of the religious factions, right? Because most of the people that's still there, they got questions and stuff, and they know something ain't right. They scared. They lack faith, right? Because they've been put under the thumb of their rulers that tell them that you leave from here, you're going to curse your soul to hell, you're going to be damned to hell, and if you reject Jesus, you ain't never going to see the Father. All this malarkey, right? You got to have some kind of faith, knowing that the Creator You know, and you can trust the Creator. Like, Father, I know they said this, but I got some questions that they not answering. Like, my heart, okay, so I'm leaving, but I'm not leaving you, right? Like, I had to go through that whole thing. Like, I'm leaving the church, but I'm not leaving you. And when I did that, when I said that, I meant that. When I left the four walls of the church, I like honed in on the Father. I didn't like stop reading my Bible or praying and fasting. I didn't stop doing that. I went in. But the difference from me leaving the church doing that to staying in the church doing that is I didn't constantly have all this rigmarole going in my ear. Oh, we need help over here. Not that you shouldn't help, but a lot of times you get, especially if you really want to do something and you find yourself active in here, sometimes you find yourself doing more, being like that the Martha instead of Mary. Was it? Did I say that right? Yeah, I think it was Martha who was always busy and concerned about so much, but Mary have chosen that good part. Did I say that right? Y'all get the story, right? You constantly doing stuff, but you're not doing anything to actually feed your own soul, your own spirit, right? You got to be bold and just like break out of there, like, bro, I'm out. We taking a sabbatical. I catch y'all flip side, right? Okay, let's go back. Enough of my shenanigans. Let me go back up to 12. No, 11. Listen, no, let's just go back to 10. Where we at? Oh, yeah, the hour mark. We're gonna finish this chapter and we're gonna end. Okay. Because we ain't gonna be here tomorrow because we're taking a sabbatical. Verse 10. My son, why hast thou so little faith? Behold, I am with thee, even as with this my daughter. All thou lackest is faith. Go thou back to thy plateau and raise thou it thyself. My daughter shall come to thee and show thee, and thou shalt not fail. To have faith in me is to be one with me. To lack faith in me is to be far removed from me. Ahura said, O Jehovah, teach thou me how to begin to have faith. To find the beginning, there is my stumbling block. Jehovah said, by trying me, there is the beginning. By learning to know thine own power in me and to know my power in thee is the sum of all power and wisdom. By the lack of faith in me, man setteth himself up, or man becomes prideful. By the lack of faith in me, the self assuming gods build kingdoms for themselves. The failure of man is proof of my power. The failure of all kingdoms is proof of the lack of faith in me, whereby my power is manifested over them. First, after the abjuring of self, cometh the constant manifestation of power through faith. The example of which holdeth the multitude to me and my works. Inasmuch as thou hast suffered fear in thy soul for a relapse in thy kingdom, thou hast opened the door for disaster. Have I not proved this on earth, wherein the faith of a captain leadeth his soldiers on to victory, and his lack of faith breaketh them down in weakness? Also, think about Troy. What Troy do? Troy burned the ships. There's like there is no retreat for us. I mean, the soldiers who went I'm thinking about the whole movie Troy or whatever. But I forget their names, but you get it. The captain, he literally in faith, like, bro, we ain't no turning back, and we're gonna win this. How I know we're gonna win it? Because we're gonna burn our own ships. There is no retreating for us. There is no going back for us, right? A captain who and that get your people riled up, like, please don't get me hyped, right? Look, you just need a fire starter. All you need is a fire starter. Those are normally the captains. You need to be a captain. You need to be a captain, right? Because they can command their attention. They can keep their people focused. We're going to win this. Let's go. Think about coaches. Coaches are captains, fire starters. They get their team. Hey, they know how to do it, right? Listen. Verse 14. Inasmuch as thou hast suffered fear in thy soul for a relapse in thy kingdom, thou hast opened the door for disaster. Have I not proved this on earth, wherein the faith of a captain leadeth his soldiers on to victory, and his lack of faith breaketh them down in weakness? Think not, O Horror, that my examples are less with my gods. If therefore my daughter should come to thy kingdom and raise it up, behold, she would lessen thy host faith in thee. For which reason thou shalt return to Elkin and proclaim to thy people that thou wilt raise thy plateau. Right? So we won't need her to come, because if she come, your people gonna start looking to her and they're gonna disregard you. We'll teach you how to do it. You go raise up your own team. Right? Get in there so they can look to you. We've chosen you to be captain over this team. Get in there. You can do it. We cheering you on. Right? Same things for families, right? Smallest governments, the smallest kingdoms. Verse 15, I'll read again. If therefore my daughter should come to thy kingdom and raise it up, behold, she would lessen thy host faith in thee. For which, for which reason thou shalt return to Elkin and proclaim to thy people that thou wilt raise thy plateau. And though millions of them will consider it vanity and beyond thy power, behold, I will provide unto thee that thou shalt not fail. Ahura said, I perceive thy wisdom, O Jehovah. That which thou hast put upon me, I know I shall accomplish through thee. Let me highlight that. That which thou have put upon me, I know that I shall accomplish through thee. Oh, that's so good. That's so good. I'm liking Ahura in his latter days. Ahura said, I perceive thy wisdom, O Jehovah. That which thou hast put upon me, I know I shall accomplish through thee. The voice departed, and Spencer Armish spake on her own account, saying, Thou shalt proclaim a day for this great work, and thou shalt send invitations to me and my hosts, and to my gods and my lords and goddesses and lordesses. Send thou therefore thy surveyors and inspectors, and determine whither thou wouldest raise thy plateau, and thou shalt be provided from my host whatever assistance thou mayest need. Ahura then saluted, and he and his host departed without the capital chamber, where they rested a while in recreation with the Ethiopian host. And then they entered their ship and departed, and returned to Elkin. After which Ahura appointed the day for resurrection, and sent messengers throughout atmosphere, proclaiming that he would do, inviting gods and lords with their attendants to come and spend the day with him. Jehovah spake to Spencer Armish, saying, Send thou thy mathematicians to estimate the grade of Ahura's plateau, and send thy surveyors to the place he hath chosen, that thy host may know the power required, and provide thou from thine own host privily suitable stationers, that Ahura shall not fail. For in time to come, Ahura shall be one of my greatest gods. He had hard lessons to learn, though. He had to get his whole pride and ego issue in check, right? We'll give him his kingdom early. Go ahead, let look, Father, give me my inheritance that I may go now, right? Give me my inheritance now. I'm ready. You sure? And the Father's good that he gave it to him, right? He gave it to him early. And he knew enough just to run it into the ground. Now he back. Father, can I come home? I even come eat the food out the pig slop out. Just count me as one of your servants. Just bring me back home. Same thing happened with families too, right? Same processes, same things. Come on, man, you ain't got to eat out the pig slop. The prodigal son is home. Slaughter the fattest calf, although we ain't slaughtering no calf, but y'all get it. Jeremiah. Okay, y'all. That is it for today. This is where we're gonna pause at, and we are gonna take a recreation for a day, right? You're gonna mingle with your families, rest, because it is one of the holy day, one of the 4 holy days of the moon, which we call the Sabbath here, right? So we're gonna pause right here. We'll come back Thursday with chapter 7. I'll put my page number 3. Okay. All right, y'all. So that being said, happy Tuesday. I know a lot of y'all didn't. For some people, you know what? Who cares? What the holiday? I feel like this way. I mean, I feel like this nowadays. Like I used to be like, oh, it's a pagan holiday. Oh, that's not really our day of independence. No, you know what? I feel like, oh, what the heck? Who really care? Like what? I don't even really look at those things anymore, and it's crazy because I so don't think about the holidays now and them being pagan like I used to as you transition and stuff. And it was like, we ain't supposed to be celebrating 4th of July. I'm like, what? It shocks me for a quick second because I so don't think about those things anymore. I just leave people alone because I realize, you know what? they got to go through the cycles just like I did. I let people do what they do. So I ain't gonna like this year. I ain't gonna steer away from family and friends because they celebrating holiday. I'm like, we ain't going. They go just celebrating Santa Claus and Santa Claus is Satan. And I ain't doing that crap no more. Like, enjoy your time, right? Enjoy your time.
There's people that don't do 4th of July because slavery was still here.
And that's what I just said, because I had a couple people, this is not the real day, we was emancipated, right? I'm like,
it didn't
bro, get out of here with that.
It didn't ruin my night, but that's how I reacted. I was like, bro, are you serious? A time just to be happy? You just gonna come through with this?
They're like Juneteenth is our emancipation. I'm like, okay, bro, whatever. All right. I mean, not to like degrade or lower. I mean, I get it. I'm just saying, we silly. Forgive me, y'all. I hope nobody was offended by that. I'm just saying that's just where my mind is, and all this crap that keeps you like looking at everything that don't matter, right? Or they're time suckers. Like they suck the clock of your life, going and have you going in circles, doing things that don't really matter for real. Not to say like you shouldn't know or understand about. Okay, now that you got to keep on moving, right? Don't get stuck there. But anyway, y'all, so it is what it is. If you enjoyed whatever it is you do on the 4th, then if you got time to spend with family, whatever, that's really all that matters. It's really about our relationships here and growing together. That's really what it's about everywhere you go. It really, really is, right? All right, so with that being said, beautiful people, enjoy your day off tomorrow. I'm gonna try to sleep in because I ain't gotta get up, but I'm gonna probably be up anyway, just because I just, I be trying to sleep in. I know, right? Bless the most, holy for growth. Right. Okay. All right, y'all. So with that being said, it is Tuesday, July the 5th, 2022, day 151 of year 4, reading through the books of the Law and Prophets. Another 4-year consecutive day count, day 1169. We read pages 275 to 283 in Oahspe. Inside of the Oahspe, the book is called Book of Spencer Armige, Daughter of Jehovah. All right, y'all. So with that being said, I think Oahspe College University, he here, may not be here. You may watch it later. I still have, you did. Oh, I totally missed you. Look, I'm gonna go check my emails today. I still ain't. Oahspe College University, my son said peace and love. My 19-year-old said peace and love. I did not check my emails yet, y'all. I'm gonna check it today. I'm gonna look for your email, Oahspe College University. Okay. Email them here. Your comment was email them here. Like, I completely missed it, so I'm not exactly sure what that was referring to when you say email them here. Yeah. So, but anyway, yeah, I'm gonna check the email you sent me the other day. I ain't checked nobody. I ain't checked like personal email. I didn't check business emails because it is. We got to do that. But yeah, because I'm gonna be off tomorrow from here and just chilling. I'm gonna go through, check my email, see who emailed me about stuff. All right, y'all. But that's it. You was probably talking about the Oahspes. All right, y'all. That's it. Tikva Netanya. Shalom and love to you as well. Linda, shalom. Alicia, hey y'all, hey. Over here on Facebook. Okay, y'all. I was just checking comments. All right, with that being said, I love y'all. May the most holy bless you all. Bless them for growth in all of our lives as we grow together in the mornings. Creative gang. I see y'all tomorrow. No. See y'all Thursday, bright and early, 7:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Elijah gone, son. Where you going? Work.